that outcome versus our level of skills. And obviously the encouraging thing then is we have the tools to improve those skills and then continue to close that gap between the two. But we get frustrated because we have this, like, I set this goal to make $1 million for the last 27 years in a row, and I've never come close and whatever, and we wonder why. And I think actually golf is another good example for probably a lot of us that will go out and hit golf on the weekend or whatever else. I almost never see someone that's gone out and played the golf every weekend. You ask them what their average score was in 1984. It's pretty darn close to what their average score is now. It hasn't improved every single year, but they played a lot of golf, a lot of hours on the golf course. And the same thing for us within our businesses, I think we do as well.
You just gave a throwaway idea there. If you've never gone down to the bookstore for an afternoon, bought the top 10 best-selling magazines, and applied all the concepts or the headlines and adapted them to your business, you haven't done one of the most valuable exercises that you can possibly do in business, right? We're already over. You got just 30 seconds, 60 seconds there?
What you were just saying, by the way, about the martial artist thing, I love this quote that my friend Lisa says, that there's no such thing as a superior martial art, there's only superior martial artists. I do believe there's actually superior ways of doing things, of course. Jeff, I'd like you to talk a little bit before you leave, because it'll benefit everyone here, about the importance of coaching, because Jeff's done more coaching, worked with more coaching than most people you'll ever meet, and he was one of the very first people to ever do teleseminars. He wrote a letter, we did it together back in 1997, 1998, which almost all information marketers have used some derivative of the survey marketing method, but he's literally just been so involved in coaching. And I think, Evan, you allude to it, you ask people questions. I know you don't want to be manipulative about just having people believe you're just trying to sell them something, and which is very good. I mean, I think everyone pretty much gets that vibe. I think you'd be doing the group a disservice, though, if anyone leaves here not understanding that you're not going to come to a 5-day event and all of a sudden you're going to have, the $1 million skills, although you got the knowledge. Because if you're making $100,000 a year, you're not going to make $1 million a year with $100,000 a year habits. You're going to make them with $1 million a year habits. And so one thing that Dan Sullivan says is that the skills that get you out of Egypt are not the same skills that get you to the promised land. And when you learn all this stuff, it's really valuable to then engage yourself after this event. This is the last day, and I think continuing with it is going to give you the biggest advantage humanly possible. And one last thing I'll say is that, Poe Bronson, I can't remember what the name of his book is, but I went to this real small speech he was doing at a bookstore. And he said, I've surveyed over 1,000 people, some handicapped, some with very successful, and really what people want, if you just take it all, is they want more woo and less in their lives. And I thought, that's so great, because really, I mean, what the hell are you all here for? You want more woo and you want less and when you ask yourself, that sounds really, can you say that for me, Evan? It just sounds more sexy when you do it.
No, I cannot.
Come on, work with me. See, that's a status ploy, him just refusing to do that. It just lowers me.
I didn't need to do it for them to know, but but it was.
But no, so talk about coaching, why coaching, how is it beneficial, and do something useful for these people, Evan, and let them know about how they can continue with this process with you, because really, that's gonna, I know you're gonna do that anyway, but
you're
seriously,
killing me.
Everything that you're gonna get out of this event is gonna not come from what you learn here, but what you decide, what path you're gonna continue with after it's done, because it's all about skills, habits, and questions. All the questions, Edison was quoted with saying that answers are more important than questions, and so a lot of people look for, let's come to an event and figure out the answers, but really asking yourselves the right question is far more important than the answers, and that's what you're talking about. That's what you guys are talking about here. So do something with whatever the hell.
Thanks, Joe. I believe that. I mean, whether we continue together, or whether you go hire a coach, you go find someone that's the best for the thing that you're trying to learn, you have to do it. I mean, you have to get the coaching, the mentor, the masterminding. You have to have that piece, or else within 2 weeks you'll go back to your environment and all of this will be gone. That's it. It'll just all be gone. It'll be like a dream you had once that you remembered that was really nice. And us, fine. Someone else, great. I mean, there are great people out there. You might even hire somebody like Jeff or Joe, but you got to get coaching. You got to be coached. You got to continue that if you want to have any chance of carrying this stuff into your future.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, probably a quote that probably all of you have heard that I think sums it up pretty quickly in a sentence is, you wouldn't go to a heart surgeon and say, teach me heart surgery in a weekend. And then, expect to be a world-class heart surgeon on Monday. It's not going to happen. It's, we want the shortcuts, but you need the ongoing.
Yeah, I saw a picture, somebody was talking about this recently, and they showed a picture of Bill Gates sitting next to Warren Buffett. And they said, we all have mentors. We all have coaches.
Absolutely.
Even the richest guy in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it's helpful when it's the second richest guy. Just teach him what he learned to do that. But Jeff, thank you very much for coming up here. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Good. Turn to the person next to you. Tell them what you just learned. 30 seconds. We're about to do probably the most important exercise of the program. Stay present. Some of the things you've been hearing here, maybe you can see how they're fitting into the bigger picture. They're fitting into the puzzle that we're trying to become experts in business, and we're trying to become really good in business to support our lives. Now, why are we trying to support our lives? Why are we trying to create great lives? And what do you do once you have a great life? Well, I think one of the things that you do once you have a great life is you think about how you can make a great contribution. So your bigger contribution. Now, why do I focus on contribution? Well, primarily, I think it's the right thing to do. I think that once we have success, it's kind of it's our responsibility to take care of others and to teach them, mentor them, train them. I think it helps us. I think there's no greater fulfillment than helping other people. Do you remember when I said that key taste to acquire is acquiring the taste of loving it when other people succeed, when you see someone else get what they want, that's the ultimate one. There are a lot of reasons for that. I didn't just say it to say it. I think that if you can acquire that taste, if you can cultivate that taste, it will lead to so much success in your life you won't even believe it. So much will come back to you that it will be fantastic. We're going to do an exercise called your bigger contribution. And the reason why we're going to do this exercise is because I want you to become so magnetic and so attractive and so bright that you pull stars in around you. Most business owners, most entrepreneurs, and most people don't see stars. They can't see them. They don't know how to see them. And most stars don't light up and appear as stars to most people, because they know that if they do, everyone's going to, as Joe Polish says, they're going to take their umbilical cord and try to plug it in and suck the energy and the life out of them. So they've learned this technique. It's like invisibility. When you go out in public and you're a star, instead of really shining and just being really bright and trying to give to everyone, what most stars do is they kind of go into this I'm just here mode. I'm nothing really special to look at. I'll listen to your story, I'll listen to what you have to say, and maybe I'll give you some advice and I'll try to help you out a little bit, but I really can't get too involved because I can't afford to have you pull me down. And I don't want you to be one of those people that scares stars away. I want you to be a star magnet. I want you to be so attractive to stars that they start calling you. I want you to be so attractive that you make friends with star networkers that are highly networked, and they're calling you on a regular basis and saying, I got another star to introduce you to. I got another one. I got another one. Who would be interested in having that happen? Okay, good. I'm going to share with you something right now that is very important. This is a sacred exercise. Do not use this for your own agenda. Please. Be sincere when you do this. And the exercise is figuring out what your bigger picture is, what your bigger contribution is. If you can get clear about how you contribute personally, how your business contributes, and how you want your life to contribute, and you can really get clear on it and embrace it, it really becomes meaningful. And maybe you're going to start right now with 10% committed to it. It's going to feel a little weird. You're going to be like, I haven't really thought about contributing to the bigger picture. Hasn't been that important to me. So you gotta fake it till you make it a little bit. But then over time, you'll get a little bit more and a little bit more. And of course, it's got to feel right, but if it feels right now, it's probably right. So follow it and go with it. And then the more you think about your contribution, the more you talk to other like-minded people, the more you only surround yourself with people that are like-minded and you have those conversations in your mastermind, the more it will cultivate it and it will grow. And the more in touch with your bigger contributions that you get, the more clear you'll be on them and the more you'll know when to talk about them. And there's a moment that you should talk about them. There's a very special moment that happens rarely. Do you know when that moment is? When you meet a star. Exactly. That's the moment when you say, let's get to know each other a little bit, and if it seems like you're clicking, mention your contribution. Mention why you're here, what you're in this for. Mention the bigger contribution, and watch what happens. If you want to have a small business that attracts monster players that come to work with you, that all your friends go, how did you attract that person? You won't be able to explain it, right? You're going to be saying, well, I just see a bigger picture here, right? Having a personal life is important to me, and my team having good personal lives is important to me, and I want to contribute to the world and the bigger picture. I want to make the world better, and I want to make my lives for my customers better, and they're going to go, huh? How did you get them? Like, what did you say, though? Does this make sense? There will be a disconnect. In January of this year, 9 months ago, I did the first Altitude program. It was a little bit shorter, had a small group, invitation only, very successful business people. Several of the people you've seen on stage here actually attended. At the end, someone came up to me, someone I know, and said, all right, yeah, so all that bigger picture stuff, that contribution stuff is great, but what are you really doing this for? Why are you really doing it? Like, they said, yeah, that's good marketing, right? Yeah, that's good stuff. What are you doing then? And I said, no, really. Like, I actually want to change the world. I know it's crazy, like me, but I'm going to try. I don't know how well I'm going to do, but that's what I really want to do. And he kind of looked at me and like, it's interesting. So we're going to do an exercise right now to help you get in touch with your bigger contribution. Flip it over. It needs to say your bigger contribution on the top. Leave the other one face down. We'll get to that later. A commitment to a bigger contribution in the world is not only personally inspiring, it also makes you more attractive to star customers, team members, partners, and mentors. Consider the bigger contribution you'd like to make to the world, then clarify and focus it so you can communicate it to everyone you meet in the future. So we're going to start simple. What's your current business contribution? How is your product or service making the world a better place right now? There's some way that your product or service is ultimately making the world a better place, and you need to know what that is. Next, your future business contribution. What is your vision for the future of your business and its contribution? Does that make sense? Where do you see it in the future? Where would you like it to go ideally? Okay, visions are very powerful. And then seeing a future reality you want to create. How can you see yourself making a difference in the world over your lifetime? I realize that this is heavy and it's a little deep for a business conference. I get it. But just start. Look out 50 years or 100 years. How could you see yourself in some small way or some large way making a difference, your life in the world? This is a very important exercise. We've reached the most important part of the program by far. So please, quiet, no whispering, no talking. We're just going to take a couple of minutes and fill this out. Go. Good. Come back. Now, who had an insight from doing that exercise? Good. Who did something like that really, honestly, and we are in a safe place here? Who just did something like it really for the first time in your life? Raise your hand. Okay, good. So, who can see how that connects all the stuff we've been working on, this whole program. Who can see that that's the key? That one right there, right? For whatever reason, one of my talents, one of the things that I'm good at, is seeing these bigger pictures, taking a lot of pieces and then seeing, oh, there's something that is here that ties them all together. Just what I got, that's the equipment that I got. And because I try to do my best to take the gifts I've been given and develop them, I don't do the best job in the world, but I try, I can see how the methods and the steps need to go together to get you to those things. All right, because you can't start with this because this will look too weird, but we can start with these other things and we can get there very quickly. It really takes most people their whole life to see what we just did in this period of time. It takes them their whole life, and actually for most people, they never even get here. They can't get outside their box. They can't get pulled out of their box.